High in the hills, hidden by mist and shadows, there stood a house that no one dared to approach. Midnight Manor, they called it, a place steeped in whispered rumors and dark secrets. For decades it had been left untouched, its windows dark, its halls silent. But the silence was heavy, like it was waiting for something. Lila found herself drawn to the manor. She'd been searching for a way to start over after losing James, the love of her life. When she stumbled upon the listing for the house, it felt like fate. It was old, broken, and forgotten, just like she felt. Without hesitation, she packed her things and made her way to the place everyone else avoided. The manor stood tall and imposing, its ivy-covered walls seeming to reach toward the sky. The driveway crunched under her tires as she pulled in, and as she stepped out of the car, the air felt colder than it should have. A soft breeze carried the scent of lavender, faint but distinct, as though the house itself was trying to greet her. Inside, the air was thick with stillness. The wooden floors creaked under her boots, and the wallpaper peeled away in long, curling strips, revealing the faded bones of the house beneath. The scent of lavender was stronger here, mixing with dust and dampness. The house felt alive, not in a comforting way, but as if it were aware of her every step. That night, Lila decided to rest in the parlor. She hadn't brought much with her yet, just a blanket and a few belongings. The room was dimly lit by a single candle she had placed on the mantel. She lay on the couch, staring up at the cracked ceiling, trying to convince herself this was a good idea. As her eyelids grew heavy, a sound stirred her. It wasn't loud, just a faint whisper, soft as a breath, but it was unmistakable. Her name. Lila. She sat up, her heart pounding. The room was as she'd left it, silent, still, bathed in flickering candlelight. But the whisper had been real. It wasn't her imagination. She felt it in the air, as if the house itself had spoken to her. A chill ran through her as she lay back down, unable to shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. The days passed in an eerie rhythm. The house creaked and groaned like an old ship in the wind, and every now and then she caught glimpses of movement, shadows flickering just out of sight. But the strangest part was the locked door on the second floor. She had found it on her first day, tucked away at the end of the hall. No matter how hard she tried, it wouldn't open. And then there were the dreams. Each night they grew more vivid. She dreamed of James, not as he was, but as something distant, out of reach. He stood in the shadows of the house, watching her with a sadness that felt heavier than the walls themselves. She woke each time with the taste of his name on her lips, her heart aching in a way she couldn't describe. One day, as she explored the house again, she stumbled across an old drawer hidden beneath layers of dust and forgotten time. Inside was a key, tarnished and cold to the touch. Instinctively, she knew what it was for. With the key in hand, she climbed the stairs to the locked door. The air seemed colder, heavier, with each step. It was as if the house itself knew what she was about to do and didn't want her to continue. She hesitated for only a moment before sliding the key into the lock and turning it. The click echoed through the empty halls like a gunshot. The door creaked open, revealing a small, empty room. In the center stood an old mirror, its surface dark and rippling like a pool of water. She stepped closer, her breath fogging the air. When she looked into the glass, her reflection was gone. Instead, the mirror showed something else, a shadowy figure with hollow eyes and a smile that sent chills through her body. She felt the weight of the house pressing down on her, the walls groaning as though they were alive. The air seemed to hum with a low, menacing sound that vibrated through her chest. The figure in the mirror didn't move, but its presence filled the room, suffocating and cold. Lila's instincts screamed at her to run, but she stood her ground. She knew, deep down, that this was the source of the house's power, the thing that had been feeding on her grief, her memories, her love. It was why James had been trapped here, why she had been drawn to this place. With trembling hands, she reached out and touched the surface of the mirror. It was ice cold, and as her fingers brushed the glass, it shattered. The sound was deafening, like thunder rolling through the house, and the room was flooded with light. She felt herself falling, weightless and free, until everything went silent. When she opened her eyes, the house was gone. She stood in the middle of an open field, the cool night air brushing against her skin. The moonlight illuminated the space where the manor once stood, but there was nothing left, only the faint scent of lavender lingering in the air. For the first time in what felt like forever, Lila felt at peace. The weight on her chest was gone, and the ache in her heart had eased. As she turned to leave, she thought she saw a figure standing in the distance. She didn't need to look twice to know who it was. A smile broke across her face, and for the first time in a long time, she felt truly free. Do like and subscribe this channel if you love your puppy.